Hello, Millwall fans. Paul Eiffel here. It's time for Chat with Chaps.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Chat with Chaps. This is the post-match analysis for the game that's just finished. I've literally just walked through the door. At the Den, Millwall 0, Oxford United 1. Not the start that we or Alex Neil would have wanted to his reign in charge. And it was just the most typical Gary Rowett away win ever, wasn't it? And fair play to them. As much as I obviously hate to say this, I thought Oxford were as bad as we were, and we were bad. And I think today just showed you how thin on quality we are and how reliant we are on one or two individuals in the squad, which we'll talk about. I thought they were great, as much as it pains me to say, in terms of how to play against us away from home. There we have it. There's certainly a very way we were used to seeing when he was in charge for us. Just had a really weird describe it. I don't know whether it's because it's New Year's Day, an early kickoff, the weather being atrocious. I couldn't parked. Obviously seeing Alex Neil in our dugout for the first time and then Gary Rowett in the opposition dugout. I don't know. It just all felt a little bit odd today. And then the performance and also the body language of some of the players, which again we will go on to talk a bit about. It just feels off at the moment, doesn't it? It really, if there is ever a club in transition, it is us. And unfortunately, we don't have time to be losing games like that at home. You know, we are not. I've said this before. Unfortunately, I said this weeks ago when we were winning games. I'm a little bit of a natural pessimist, admittedly, but we've got to be careful because we are so reliant on a couple of individuals that, by the way, who knows, may not be here come the end of January. Dougie Freedman in the stands again, watching, I'm sure, Romain Esse. Who knows what happens to him in the next few weeks? By the way, I thought Romain Esse was by far our best player, and at times our tactic was just give it to him and see what he could create. But a really poor performance from us. Huffed and puffed, yes, but no real quality. And, it was... unfortunately, I think overall deserved win for Oxford, which we should have known, shouldn't we? Writing was on the wall, wasn't it, before the game? We probably all knew what would happen, but nonetheless, we go there and wish for more. I'm going to obviously give a summary of the game. I haven't watched anything back, so this is just my recital of what I saw when I was there. And then I just want to talk about some sort of bigger themes and look at the bigger picture on a couple of things rather than just overanalyze one game, because for me, there's just patterns that have been standing out for some time, and we are in desperate need of reinforcements in January. Just a really, really poor game all round. So let's start off with the team then that Alex Neil picked for his first game in charge. I think the biggest surprise was playing two up top. Before the game, it was, well, is it two up top? Is it not? But it was. It was McCauley, Langstaff, Ivanovic up front. Obviously behind them on the right, Romain Esse on the left, Duncan Watmore coming in for Femi Aziz, which I found odd. George Saville, Casper Denor in midfield, and then the same back four, right to left, of Ryan Leonard with the captain's armband, Javid Tanganga, Murray Wallace, Joe Bryan, and then Lucas Jensen in goal. That surprised me, if I'm honest, because Alex Neil doesn't normally play two up top. So it'd be interesting to see what he says post-match around, because I'm sure that will come up. But maybe it's a reflection on the personnel that he thinks he has, and we have so many players that, from a technical ability point of view, are League One players. It's defies belief at times. But anyway, look, I'm not going to come here ranting and raving and shouting and swearing, because it's not my style. I've seen some of the meltdown on social media, and Some of the comments I can agree with. I put them slightly more diplomatically, but some of them I can agree with. Some of the takes I've seen are just bonkers. But I will do my best to summarize where I see it, and then of course let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Of course, this is your call to action. Please to hit the like button if you haven't already. Please hit the like button. It really helps the channel with the algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, everything we're doing this season is going to be given to Cancer Research UK. So any likes, shares, subscribes are hugely appreciated. So the game, one thing that struck me, by the way, and obviously this went on to certainly cause us problems, was Plaqueta. In the reverse fixture at their ground, Plaqueta played on the left-hand side up against Ryan Leonard and didn't really get any change out of him. However, today they played Plaqueta against Joe Bryan, and he was to get certainly some success against Joe Bryan today. But again, I've not seen it back, but I thought we should be 1-0 up after 2 minutes. I sit in a Kitchener stand, so this was quite some distance from me. I sit in block 5, block 4, doesn't matter. But we have a free kick, and then we have 2 chances, the second and the third phase, that we seem to fluff. Where it's, I don't know, from where I'm sitting, both should at least have tested the keeper a goal-bound effort. So how different things could have been. That could have been the perfect start. They then come down the end where they play a simple 1-2 with Plaqueta. Catches Joe Bryan out, and that was a real testing sign for us. We then have another chance from Watmore. We win a second phase. There's a shot that's just wide before we have a half chance with Leonard crossing for Mihailo Ivanovic flying over from a tight angle. We then have a penalty shout on 15 minutes. Now, I had a few people that weren't at the game message me and say that for them it was a penalty. So I haven't seen it back, but again, how different could your luck be? We could have had a penalty on 15 minutes. Caveat, as I said, I've not seen it back. Another good chance, or half a chance, on 25 minutes, a good volley from Mihailo Ivanovic after a good save. I think it was a good save from a Saville shot, and he just pushed it out of reach of Langstaff, and then the return was from Ivanovic. And then I felt that they started to grow into the game after the 25-minute mark. I felt that we were really static in our movement. I felt that you could see already after just one day of training certain things that Alex Neil was trying to implement, but none of it was coming off. I think he was trying to get our fullbacks higher and wide, but there was just no movement. There was a lot more patient build-up. I think we ended up with 55% possession. And, I can hear around me people just saying, get it forward. And I don't mind us not, lumping it forward all the time. I think it's more patient trying to find those gaps. The problem is, the thing I find frustrating is the lack of movement. There was just none. And there was no gaps. And yes, that's down to our lack of movement, but it's also down to, again, credit to Oxford. They were set up in such a way that what they would do is when our centre-backs had the ball, in terms of just playing it around at the back, shifting side to side, they weren't pressing. They were allowing us to have the ball, but they would stay in shape, which meant there wasn't many options available to us. And then when a player would try and step out with the ball, that's when they would press, but they would press as a unit. And the work rate that the Oxford players were putting, even the 90th minute, they were all over us. So as much as we were bad, I do want to give credit to Oxford. And that's the last time I'm going to say it, because I've said it too many times now and it pains me. So, you could see certain things that we were trying to do. It just wasn't happening for us. And then they had a couple of opportunities. On 31, they had a corner that then bounced favourably for them, that one of their players then smacked it straight at Saville. Was it a goal-bound effort? I don't know, but Saville certainly took one in the stomach area there. They had an effort on 33 where they had an effort narrowly shanked wide. On 40 minutes, they break from our counter. Joe Bryan, who was trying to get further up the pitch, then I don't know. It looked like he was jogging back, but I don't know whether he's injured or he's just not fit enough. I don't know. But they kind of create some overloads there. Just some of the things, Joe Bryan and Murray Wallace in the first half. Murray Wallace it's really interesting because Joe Bryan and Murray Wallace are almost the complete opposites of each other. I will argue with anyone that Joe Bryan technically is a very good footballer. However, he was abysmal today. And I know he's the latest boo boy, and everyone loves to have one, and he's certainly it. I don't think he's been as bad as certain people have said, but today he was dire. The cross in the last minute summed it up. But I thought Murray Wallace was equally as bad. But it's different because Murray Wallace is a very limited footballer, but gives absolutely everything. But today, I think you just saw that he is just not up to it. Incidentally, as much as he isn't, it wasn't his fault really that we can't score a goal, and we've now only scored 2 goals in 7. That's not his fault really. He did have a lot of the ball, and one of the things that I wanted him to do more, especially in the first half, was just look right. Every time he got the ball, the only time he looked right was just to pass it sideways to Tanganga. Everyone was looking down the left-hand side. The amount of times, and in the second half, Ron was screaming for it in acres of space. We failed to use him properly. So yeah, I thought Murray Wallace in possession today was really really poor. Joe Bryan was playing very narrow, particularly in that first half. Is that his choosing? Was he asked to play there? Don't know. But those two in particular, there were more. We'll come on to those. Were poor. I thought Watmore was poor today. It's like a completely different player to the one that started the season like a house on fire. He was so poor. He gets knocked off the ball way too easily. He goes down looking for free kicks that never are. Turns into traffic a lot. He was poor today. And I also thought that the two central midfielders, whilst they were industrious, they only really showed for the ball very, very deep in their own half, almost like playing as fullbacks to kind of allow Joe Bryan or Ryan Leonard to push on. I want them to take the ball more on the turn. You see SA doing it all the time, and I know they're different players, but I think we need more from those two central midfielders. How many assists have they got between them this season? I don't know. I think Sav is really starting to tire. He's played way too many minutes, and the question is, why is that? Why are we not using other players? That's now, it's Alex Neil's first game, and yet he still takes off Casper Denor and doesn't bring off George Saville. It's interesting. Obviously, certain things must be going on behind the scenes. I'm not sure. Half time, 0-0. Opportunities for both sides. I say we had the better first half of the first half. They had the better second half of the second half, and then for them, they probably went in quite happy. They were limiting us to not much, and they had to make a substitution at half time. Actually, they actually lost their skipper at half time. I can only assume this wasn't tactical. And then they brought on Peter Chioso. I think he's formerly of Coventry. He went right back, and then Sam Long had been playing right back, moved to centre back. You've then got two centre backs that are completely unproven at this level. One of them's a right back, and yet we did not put enough pressure on them. Like, I'm sorry, but it is not good enough to lose at home to a side that's not won away all season. They haven't won, and I nicked this from Merv Payne. So Merv, if you're listening, this is your stat, mate. They haven't won away at home from home at this level since 1999. And they have got two centre backs completely unproven at this level. One of them's a right back, and they look like they found the second half easy, and it's just not good enough. It's really really not good enough. We came out the second half, no changes. I did feel we had a little bit more zip to us. We had some good early pressure, but nothing come of it. They had a couple of corners, and I felt they looked dangerous at corners. I felt we looked really weak. Lucas Jensen comes to saying doesn't quite get it. We start to push the fullbacks really high. At times, I felt we lacked width at crucial times. We'd look for an out ball. It's really weird because sorry, just to track back a little bit. At times, I felt we played with fullbacks really high and created a lot of width. And at other times, I felt SA and Watmore and then Aziz when he came on, they almost really came up really narrow. It was odd. I didn't quite understand that. It's obviously something that they'll work through. So you can't judge it based on one game. And by the way, anyone who judges Alex Neil based on one game, you cannot. Alex Neil's had one game, one day with the players. He'll have one more day with the players before the Sheffield Wednesday game. Then there's the break. Then there's the FA Cup game. I don't think you can judge him for a good month or two yet. So I don't think I've seen any criticism of him yet, but please, it's one game. Then this was a crucial turning point for me. 54 minutes. We have two moments where balls come into the box. Leonard chooses the wrong cross option. It then gets recycled. It comes back to the far post, and Langstaff blazes it over. Don't know how close it was. Don't know if he should have done better. But it was a sliding doors moment again there, because they then literally go down the other end and they score. We got twice into good positions and we failed to test the keeper. And that is the story of our season. We had more entries into the box than them. We had more chances, more attacking plays, more touches in the penalty area, more touches in the final third, whatever you want to call it. And yet we still haven't scored a goal. That's now still only 2 goals in 7 games. And what happens here is, and I can't quite recall everything that happened, but I just remember thinking that a ball went into the centre of the park that Tanganga and Saville, one of them need to deal with. Neither of them do. The ball then gets shifted out to the right-hand side. I think is it Mark Harris, peels it out to the right-hand side. The ball comes in, and then Rodriguez heads it back across goal, gets there first, and it kind of bounces down and trickles over the line. And they go 1-0 up. And then as soon as that happened, and this is the sad thing, you just knew we were getting a point at most. And then when I say at most, is because we're never going to score 2 goals. That's right now, what, 16, 17 games, is it, since we scored 2? Can't remember. It's a long time. God, yeah. And to think that as soon as you go 1-0 down at home, you know the best you're going to get is a point, which obviously we don't even go on to get. After that, Murray Wallace kicks it straight out of play. We then make a couple of substitutions. Langstaff, Casper Denor go off. And Tom Bradshaw comes on, and George Honeyman into the centre of the park. By this point, Aziz is already on for Watmore. And look, we didn't really create anything clear cut. You know, there was a shot on 70. There's another penalty claim on 75 from a free kick. Hadn't seen it. Honeyman had a shot on 78, which was just comical. And that was it. We really didn't create anything. They probably felt comfortable. And it was just the thing that worried me the most today was the body language of the players. It didn't look like, I don't know, we didn't seem to see that new manager bounce. Like, I don't think, it almost felt like at times some of them looked like they'd given up. It was really, it's what I said earlier, it was really weird, bizarre day. Only 4 minutes added on, another weak referee. Is he the reason we didn't win the game? I was about to say no, but who knows? Based on those penalties, maybe he was. Haven't seen him back. Don't know. I'm going to focus on us, not the referee. But it is depressing. And Alex Neil must be thinking, what on earth have I got myself in for? I said it before when people were saying, you know, we need to go higher than Alex Neil. We count our lucky stars. We've got a manager that has got the CV he has, because I'm telling you, we are not a great side. Let's just put it that way. We have too many players that are League One, and we have too many players that ultimately, ask yourself this question: would they get in other Championship sides? That's the question. Would Murray Wallace get into another Championship side? I don't think he would. You know, I'm not singling just out Murray Wallace here. You know, there's a lot of players that fall into that. It's just the one that I want to call out. So Alex Neil, massive job on his hands. And it starts with recruitment. Yes, he needs to also build patterns of play up. As I said, you could see tiny little bits of what he's trying to implement, but it's too early. But we don't have an attacking coach. You know, Alex Neil wasn't an attacker. Martin Cannon is a defensive coach. That's like 1 in, 1 out with Barrett. You either have to coach it into them to create more opportunities. And this is a side that has Romain Esse in it. Imagine what it's like if he goes next week. I mean, it's going to get even worse. If you can't coach it into them, then you need to go and buy players. And my struggle I have is based on, and this is not based on opinion, because I think the thing is that obviously there's a lot of opinion around the recruitment and all this kind of thing. So I'm just going to stick to the facts. Based on the recruitment that's been done in the summer, can we really trust this recruitment process to bring in the players that we need. We've spent over £3 million on 2 strikers. When have Millwall ever spent over £3 million on a centre forward, on a strike force? And so far, it's yielded 3 goals. Now, yes, you can say that a lot of it's to do with the creativity behind them, but let's be honest. When the 2 lads, Ivanovic and Langstaff, have played up top and home, they look a little bit lost. Played them together today. I thought that Langstaff looked as lost as he always does. I really want him to come good. We spoke yesterday with Gab Sutton, who believes he will. Every game that goes by, I'm starting to question it more and more. Ivanovic, I thought, looked the better of the 2. I think he's probably our best bet at the moment, with Coburn being out injured. But how can we trust the recruitment of 2 strikers that just don't look quite ready? And they spent over £3 million on them. The other thing as well, the failure to sign another centre-back is abysmal. To have... We've basically got 3 centre-backs that aren't good enough at this level. Murray Wallace, Sean Hutchinson and Wes Harding. Why are they all in the building still? Why didn't we sign a centre-back? Today, Ronnie Edwards gone on loan to QPR would have been a great little signing for us, just to keep us ticking over. Like, it's criminal that we didn't sign a centre-back. We have 4 central midfielders that are all very similar. As much as I love Kasper and Sav, maybe Kasper in a different system can do this, but we need more creativity from them. We lack options out wide now, with Imaku being injured and Watmore blows hot and cold. Like, the lack of depth in this squad is clear to all to see. And I did a piece in the summer around what I think we needed, and we talked about the fact we need to add more goals. We need to add depth at centre back, and we haven't. And it's just criminal. It really, really is. And I'm just really worried, because we are so reliant on Japhet Tanganga and Main Esse. And if they are sold, which I understand is the model, if they are sold, we could be in deep trouble. Because if you assume that one of them or both of them get sold in January, who's going to replace them? And do we really trust the recruitment process that we've seen so far to go out and replace them effectively? It's depressing, isn't it? It really is. And to know that we go back to work tomorrow makes it even worse. But yeah, look, I think I'd summarise it by saying that Gary Rowett did a job on us. Not the start Alex Neil would have wanted. Really interested to hear his post-match interview. It might be out by now. What's the time now? It's 20 to 5, so by now it might be out. The body language of some of the players didn't look quite right. Is that down, do you think, that they got a new manager coming in and they don't know whether they're going to be offered new deals? I don't. Like, there was an interview, wasn't there, with Steve Gallen a couple of months back, and he come out and said they won't talk to players about new deals until we're safe. Which, by the way, at that stage we were doing really well. So to say till we're safe is a bit odd. So you've got all these players. There's a lot of, I think it's like 9 players out of contract. New managers come in. They're probably looking over their shoulder thinking, do I need to look for a new club or not? It just smacks of a bit of chaos, doesn't it, at the moment? And certainly a club in transition. And other teams are going to look at that and we're going to go, look, if we're going to come in, we put a real shift in, we hold our shape and then we counter. We can get 3 points in. That's what Oxford did. So, yes, very frustrating day at the office, I think. Some really poor performances. Joe Bryan, Murray Wallace, George Saville. Don't think Kasper was much better today. Duncan Watmore, Langstaff. Yeah, it's half the team not performing and half the team that probably isn't really good enough anymore. Big job that Alex Neil has. Big job for recruitment team over January, over the summer, with so many players out of contract. I think really it is about ensuring our safety this season. We're mid-table, but trust me, performances like that, it's been coming. We've scored 2 goals in 7 games. It's just not been good enough. We need to keep our look and our eye over our shoulder, and we need to get these next 2 windows right. It is vital that we do. Alex Neil must be thinking, what on earth have I signed up for? Right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that was okay. Man of the match, if I had to give one, would be Rom. I thought we never stopped trying, never stopped showing for the ball. He's just a pleasure to watch, and unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be here much longer. But we will see. Happy New Year, I suppose. Although it wasn't. Thank you as always for listening, guys. Maybe a little bit raw, that one. Obviously, I'm incredibly frustrated after that. I've tried to keep it as diplomatic as possible, but also true to myself in terms of what I thought some of the problems were. Let's just hope things start to pick up. Let's not judge Alex Neil too soon. And we all need to be together, because you can hear it around the ground, people getting on players' back and stuff like that. I get it, and it's frustrating, and you paid your money, you can have your opinion. But, Neil Harris said this club is unstoppable when everyone's together, and already you can see seeds of that starting to crumble, which is a shame, because we all love the club and we all want the same thing. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day, guys, and thank you as always for listening. Much appreciated, and we'll be back next weekend after the Sheffield Wednesday game. It might be 1 or 2 shows in between. We'll do what we can. Have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks as always, and of course, bye for now.